Dr. Nguyen Thi Cam graduated with a PhD in Applied Linguistics from Wellington's Victoria University in 2009. Since then, she's been employed by the university here at its Ho Chi Minh City campus, where she teaches English to students who are also hoping to study in New Zealand. Lei continues her linguistics research as well, and she's built up several other successful partnerships between Victoria University and tertiary institutions here in Vietnam. Dr. Nguyen Thi Cam, thanks so much for inviting us here today.
My pleasure. Thank you for coming here for the interview as well. I feel honoured to have this opportunity.
You went to New Zealand on a development scholarship in 2006 to Victoria University. How was the experience?
I went to New Zealand in 2006 and returned to Vietnam in 2009, and I had a great experience in New Zealand, both academically and personally. In terms of professional development, I have gained my PhD degree in linguistics, which is a great thing. I also mastered some skills, for example, research skills, and I also have the opportunity to be exposed to very professional and friendly environment in New Zealand.
Since returning to Vietnam, you've been working for the University of Victoria here, and you have this campus in Ho Chi Minh City. What do you tell your students about New Zealand? You're teaching them English so that they can go there and study. What do you tell them to expect when they get there?
I lived and studied in New Zealand before, so I know quite a bit in New Zealand. So when I am teaching my students English, I also tell them about New Zealand, which is, a very safe country, clean, beautiful, where they can have exposure to Maori culture, which is very unique. And when they come to New Zealand, they will be able to learn practical skills, which they will be able to use and apply in their job.
So how important do you think it is for young people to, if they get the chance, be educated overseas and particularly educated in New Zealand? What can that offer them?
I think the New Zealand educational system is offering, not only domestic students but international students a lot. When international students come to New Zealand, they will learn how to study independently, how to be autonomous, which is very important for both undergraduate and postgraduate levels. Because when they are learning autonomously, they will be able to set their own goals and then look for different ways to achieve their goals. This is very important. One of the skills that they could gain is to think critically, because when they study on this program, they are encouraged to be critical thinkers. So they are encouraged to criticize other people, and it is very important that they provide evidence and arguments to protect or to convince other people of their point of view.
Is this different to the way they're taught in Vietnam, for example, or perhaps other parts of Asia?
Absolutely. This is similar to what they have been experiencing before, because in Vietnam, they are encouraged to respect their teachers, which means some students don't agree, to some point of view, but they still pretend that they do. So they don't really tell you what they think. And when they come to New Zealand, they will have the opportunity to tell people what they really think, which is important, I think.
Why do you think that's important?
It is important because, you have to be honest with what you think in order to persuade people. I think being different is important as well.
So would you say that gaining these skills has the potential to actually change you as a person?
Absolutely, yeah. For example, because of my exposure to the New Zealand educational system, I have become independent in other aspects of life. For example, before I want to do something, I always, make a plan and then follow that plan and try to find resources in order to help me achieve my goals. Yeah, those skills are really helpful in my job now and in other aspects of life too.
You work hard to encourage young Vietnamese people to go down to New Zealand to study. What else do you tell them to prepare them for the experience?
In order for them to fully enjoy their life in New Zealand, I also tell them to participate in other cultural activities which are ample, abundant in New Zealand. So in New Zealand, there are so many activities that they could join, and this will enrich their cultural experience. So they study, and at the same time, they should, enjoy their time in New Zealand.
As part of your scholarship, your family, your husband and young son were also able to travel with you to New Zealand. What did they think of the place?
They loved it. They loved the experience. My son went to New Zealand school and he enjoyed his time there because what he told me was that he had played sport a lot and he didn't have to do what the teacher asked them all the time because the teacher gave him some freedom to choose topics he wanted to talk about, which is good. And he picked up New Zealand accent, and I really want him to maintain this accent.
You've been back here for a few years now. Has he still
lost
got it?
A little bit, but still, I could tell that some is still there in his English.
What would be your advice to anybody who's considering going to study in New Zealand?
New Zealand is part of me now. I identify myself as a Vietnamese, but I think 1/4 of me is New Zealander. So I want other people to experience New Zealand, especially education. I think my experience of studying and living in New Zealand is unique, and I treasure that. And yeah, I just love it, and I'm thankful for the New Zealand government because of, giving me this opportunity. It's a great opportunity. Yeah, and I would encourage other people to come to New Zealand.
Lei, thanks so much for that. It's great to hear from you.
My pleasure.